How's it going, everyone? It's Andre, and today we're gonna talk about the Sonic the Hedgehog movie and why I think that this new design is not as bad as you think it is. Now, let's dive into this, shall we? So, first of all, we're gonna talk about the Sonic games because that is how Sonic was created in the first place. In the Sonic games, we would barely see Sonic's design. Like we would see it in the beginning, maybe at the end or something, and we would see it in some cutscenes in some other Genesis games. Like Sonic 1, we had the opening in Sonic 1, and we had some of the scenes there that would, some of the scenes in like some of the other Sonic games, different cutscenes and different like dialogue boxes opening up in the next Genesis games and some of the next and like the later Sonic games as well in the later Sega consoles. And Sonic looked very cartoony at that time, and he had this still prominent design. It's the most recognizable design. It's very recognizable. You could recognize it from a mile away. And influences of it are still used. It's largely the same design. It's actually been the same design actually up until now, basically. Or up until Sonic Boom, but we're gonna talk about that later. But it's largely been the same design most of the time, just with different versions. For example, in the anime movie that was released shortly after they released the original game for the Sega Genesis, Sonic looked slightly different, but it had the very similar design to what was used there in like the Sonic games for Genesis. And then different adaptations, different anime and TV adaptations of Sonic, like different cartoon shows, like Sonic Underground and Sonic X, and all these other like shows based on that at the moment, 80s and 90s. 2D Sonic, the 2D cartoon version of Sonic, largely the same design, same noodly arms, same shoes, the same everything, same legs. Everything is a noodle, like except for his original name was Mr. Needle Mouse. Like you can see the influence from that catching on to the actual final design of Sonic. So he still had this noodly appendages and stuff, and he still had this quirky like leg movement that blurred up so much that you could see like the blur in and of itself, like the smudge of the legs going very fast in some of the cartoons and all this other stuff. Like his design sometimes was very childish. This is what in Sonic Generations you would call Little Sonic or Classic Sonic in Sonic Generations. Although it did look like that in the original Genesis games, some of them. It kind of, like, the grown-up stage of it, like, later on in the 90s especially, where he became a little bit more grown-up. And then the 3D games came on. The 3D games, they didn't really succeed that much, a lot of them, especially Sonic 06, which was very glitchy and nobody really liked it. But it basically, all these games birthed a new type of adult Sonic that had slightly longer appendages, a bit of a different design here and there on different parts of the body. Like the face was different, the spikes shorter, the head itself was more proportionate to the body. It was smaller. Like a lot of design choices there indicated that he kind of grew up in a certain way. I don't know if it was on purpose or not, but whatever. And that design lasted for a while. Sonic Adventure games, all of the like Sonic Heroes and etc. And some of them were like Sonic the Hedgehog 4, which also was mediocre according to most people, according to most fans as well. it was supposed to. Sonic 4, I think, was kind of the Sega's supposed answer to New Super Mario Brothers, Nintendo's like revival of the classic Sonic, of the classic Mario. Sorry, but I mean, they nailed the 3D, the 2.5D design, but they didn't nail the controls or the gameplay, especially like Chapter 3 and all that stuff. Like, they still didn't nail it. And then, and yeah, and there were a lot of games, and of course there were ones like Sonic Unleashed and stuff that like made a bit of it like a different like design for some parts of the game, which kind of birthed the whole thing of like there's a different design. This is an alternative design that you should enjoy. It's gonna be side by side, like alternative and original design. Same. They went the same way with Sonic Generations, with alternative and real, like with the original and alternative. And by alternative, I mean classic Sonic, because the modern Sonic was supposed to be like was supposed to be unchanging, while the different types of Sonic were kind of changing between games. And the trend continues kind of continues with the how's it called, Sonic Forces, but it's not exactly that. It's more of here's a custom character you can build, your own OC, which is kind of inspired by the whole deviant art culture and the memes and the fursuits and stuff, like the furries and like just the fandom basically. And they took that, but again, many people think that Forces is mediocre, especially compared to a game that used the classic design that came around the same time called Sonic Mania, and it was made by a third party. It was not made by Sega, by Sonic Team. It was instead made by Christian something. It was made by Christian Christian Whitehead. It was made by a guy named Christian Whitehead, and it's OG. It's very good, and many people praised it, and many people agreed that this is probably the best Sonic game of all time, possibly. Yeah. So we had all these different tribulations, and some of the games sucked, but we had this adult Sonic design, and we had this kid Sonic design, kind of, in Generations and in Forces especially, like still staying, maybe a little bit in the background, but still staying there. But then Sonic Boom, I mean before that, not to be confused, I know that Sonic Boom came before Sonic Mania and Sonic Forces. I'm just talking about different periods. So we had the Sonic Generations era and like the Lost World, which was a bit of an experimental game, I think, like with all the pipe-shaped designs and the different rotating worlds and stuff. And to be frank, it's kind of decent, but at the same time, it was not really that popular, except for like the speedrunning community, which like there's still speedruns of this game to this day, and like people like being very fast at the game where you were supposed to be very fast, and I think Sonic Lost World managed to do that even with the weird, planetoid Super Mario Galaxy, almost Super Mario Galaxy like design, but kind of original and experimental, which I kind of like. Even Mania was less experimental because it just used the classic game design. And didn't really invent like anything. They did invent a lot of things around the classic design, but they didn't make something completely different. And now Sonic Boom, the Sonic Boom design. A lot of people didn't like the Sonic Boom designs on the characters. I watched some of the episodes of the TV series based on Sonic Boom that was released on Boomerang, Netflix, like all these different outlets. And I watched many episodes, and I think they're funny. I mean, it's very basic. It's not really really as complex as you would want. Like Sonic X, like was very complex, but Sonic Boom instead is like this very simplistic thing for children, or like maybe adults, like maybe with your families in general. And so I mean, the games though were a complete failure. Especially they didn't really release. They just released one game, Rise of Lyric. They didn't really release another game. I don't remember them releasing another Sonic Boom game after Rise of Lyric. And even that is a stupid name, Rise of Lyric. What does that even mean? I know a lyric is supposed to be like a character or something like that. I'm not much into that. But Sonic Boom flopped. The game itself flopped because of bad controls, because of the some of the bad stuff, like bad game design in and of itself. Just the character design, people didn't like it changing, which is kind of a precedent to what we're going to talk about next. Because what we're going to talk about next is the absolutely ripped and jacked version of Sonic called Sonic, but he's in Sonic the Hedgehog, and I mean the movie that's gonna come out in 2019, September 2019. I'm not even I don't have internet open right now. I don't have Chrome open right now. But whatever. I just have the text that tells me what to say or something. And it's not really a script. It's just bullet points. But whatever. So Sonic movie is gonna be out in the second quarter of 2019. That's like the last quarter of 2019. It's in development right now, and they released this poster. They released actually like two posters, but one of them was like leaked, and then there's a third one, but it's either it's fake or it's like much like it's like very the prototype, like way before these two posters went public. Well, as far as I can see, all of these designs are actually decent. Well, except for the poster with the legs. That's a little bit creepy. They should not have done that. I completely agree. But both of the versions of design are actually pretty good. I mean, the first one's even better because it doesn't have all the muscular form to it and stuff, and it's just Sonic laid back on top of a person, like with the legs on top of the cop friend that he's gonna go with on an adventure or something like that. And as far as I'm concerned with the whole go fast thing in the movie, I assume, at least according to what I've seen so far, that it's not his body or his legs that are going to give him superpowers in terms of it's not his body or his legs that are going to make him run really fast. It's his shoes that are going to make him run very fast, because the electricity coming from the shoes actually looks like electricity. If you have noticed on the poster, it looks exactly like electric bolts coming from the shoes themselves. So, like, not electric bolts, just electricity. Yes, it's blue, but it's still electricity that comes from the shoes themselves. I don't think that he's going to have the actual powers. His own body's going to have the powers. It's his shoes that have them, and I think I've seen the same concept in some other Sonic games. I'm just not sure which ones. But I mean, maybe some people think that Sonic is like supposed to be fast because he has superpowers in his legs or something. Like he has superpowers that he can run really fast and like spin and stuff like that. Spin, dash, and do his fast thingies and loop-de-loops and whatnot. And there are people who think, I assume that there are people who also who think instead that it's not Sonic, it's the shoes. Now, here's the thing. I don't really like, I do feel for the people who don't like the new shoe design in the in that's gonna be in the movie. But as far as I'm concerned, I think I've heard from some YouTuber that it's probably going to be a tie-in for an actual commercial product. It's going to be a commercial for like Nikes or Adidas or something like that, or New Balance. Like it could be really any company, or something like that. Because other than that, I don't think there's any other explanation. There's any other theory that has been that I think is like close. I think the closest theory is that it's just a commercial, like a tie-in, like an ad for an actual shoe brand that's being like shoehorned into the movie, if you know what I mean. And yes, pun totally intended. No, pun not intended. And I think that the new design, in conclusion, I think the new design isn't bad. Even the one with the muscles, it's not really as bad as you might think it is. As some people think it is. Maybe it's because people don't like change, but I think that his design really fits well with a movie like that, with a movie that's being made in 2019 and released in 2019. Um, so far, there's only have been like a one fan movie that I've seen part of. I've seen just like a little snippet of it, a little clip of that fan-made movie from like 2013 or something like that. It's a short film, and like the design doesn't really match the background. Like it's doesn't really look. I mean, it's a homemade movie. It's like a fan-made movie. Of course, it doesn't have to be professional. But I mean, if they keep the noodly shape of the character's legs and arms and everything, and like arms. No, I'm not. No, I'm not doing a salute of any kind right now. I was just showing the. Don't demonetize me, please. Uh, or don't plug my video. I don't monetize myself yet, but whatever. I don't dislike. I actually really like the new design. It feels like it fits into the movie. And if we see his face, I mean, there have been like a lot of Photoshop versions of the poster where you see a real hedgehog eyes and like bullshit. Have you seen the beta version? I think his face is gonna be exactly the same as the beta version, like the poster before, like when they just started casting and they made this mock-up thing. It's still there. Like you can still search for a prototype Sonic movie poster somewhere, like on Google somewhere. Like it's totally available everywhere. You can search even the Sonic 2019 poster, and you'd find a version of that somewhere. And yeah, that version that probably has been leaked. I don't think it's fake. It's from when they were just casting people and stuff. When they thought that that there were like different actors planned and stuff like that, and actually it looks a little bit more truthful to the Sonic franchise. But I still like the new design because it's a person, because I see a person in that. I see some sort of courage being inserted in there. I see something that looks like a person, not like a cartoon character. I see someone with like real motivation, and not like a goofy, you know, even Woody Woodpecker. They didn't change his design, but I mean the movie flopped, of course, but they didn't change his design in the movie, and yet the movie flopped because it was like badly done. The design should not concern you. The story should concern you. I think what should concern you about the new 2019 Sonic movie is the storytelling, the character development. I mean, the storytelling, the character development, and the overall, feel of the movie. If it feels cringy, people are gonna hate it. And if it feels like a good movie, people are gonna love it. And that is the thing. So, I hope you enjoyed this video. I like the new Sonic design from 2019. And I'm really hyped for this movie. I want to hear more news about it. And of course, I'm skeptic. I'm always skeptic. Maybe this movie's gonna flop. Maybe it's gonna be as mediocre as the Woody Woodpecker movie. Was it like the same company? I'm not sure if it was even the same company, but still. I mean, the Sonic movie is going to be developed by Paramount Pictures, combined with a bunch of other companies, including Sega's own, part of like the big like Sega Sammy Corporation that owns Sega. They have an animation company as well. I don't know how. I don't remember how it's called. Something with the word Mania or something. I don't know. I don't remember. But whatever. It was very entertaining to talk to you. I'm sorry, I'm so cringy. This is the first video since like the last cringy one that I just made like a few weeks ago. Whatever. So yeah, what do you think? I want to ask you, what do you think? Be honest. Say that the movie's gonna be bad because you think it's gonna be bad. Tell me why do you think it's gonna be bad? I think it's gonna be bad because they're probably just gonna make the story way too safe and way too child friendly, like family friendly, and they're just gonna be capitalizing on trends and trying to do it like like YouTube Rewind, kind of, which I still enjoyed, and I liked a little bit, but mostly I didn't like. Probably that's gonna be the thing that I'm gonna feel about the movie after I watch it, but I'm still hyped because I really, really hope that it's not gonna happen that way. My mustache is terrible. I'm gonna deal with it later. So, thanks for watching. That was a 20-minute rant on Sonic the movie. That's gonna be a movie that's not even released yet. And I talked about like all the different designs that Sonic had. That was very entertaining. That was very amazing. Just a one-shot video that just talks and rants about a topic and there's text. I like that format. I'm gonna keep doing this format on my channel, as well as all the crazy mashups and all this crazy bullshit that you're probably gonna enjoy. Or something. Or maybe not. Depends on you. If you like this video, like it and subscribe. I'm gonna make more of these videos. Probably very frequently as well. I really want to make these things more frequently because I have these sunglasses and headphones and everything. All the equipment that I need to make a silly little rant every now and then. Not a high quality produced one, but a silly quality unedited rant. So we're gonna see you in the next silly quality unedited rant. And that's it for today. That was Andre from Andre Televise signing off. See you later.